Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back.
Oh, hello there, and happy Tuesday. This is Run It Back. My name's Michelle, that's Chandler, that's Lou, and we've got some basketball talk for you guys today. See, I'm gonna use this voice. I think it's soothing for the world. We need to figure some stuff out. We were just talking about it right before we came on here. We don't understand what the Dallas Mavericks are doing, and somebody needs to make it make sense. So here's the deal. They played yesterday, and they beat the Nets. 120-101. AD made his big return. He's been out, obviously, since February with the adductor strain. He had 12 points, 27 minutes. Jason Kidd said, we know what's at stake. Well, what's at stake right now is a play-in spot. So with the win, they are tied with the Suns for the 10th seed. Talk about another team we can't figure out. And the Suns have the tiebreaker. We can look at the schedules to see what they are. The Suns, we discussed yesterday, have one of the toughest remaining schedules as things go out. The Knicks, not so much. So, guys, the Mavericks looking to take the play-in spot. Make it make sense.
Listen, you have to respect it. Anthony Davis, the magnitude of this trade with Luka for AD and Max Christie, he played really good in those first three quarters,
okay,
right? And there's light at the end of the tunnel based on the talent they have, the rush they had. Then Kyrie Irving goes down. So I think once that happened, I think this season was pretty much a wash. Now they're kind of stuck in no man's land where Anthony Davis is healthy enough to play, so he should play. And you got to respect that for that. And he's the new guy in a new city that's getting kind of dragged through the mud. How the trade was awful. They could have got more. He has something to prove as well. And he's been a guy that's been banged up. He's been injured throughout his career. So it's a tough spot. Realistically, it's tough because I'd rather just shut him down. I'd rather just go for a top 5, top 6 pick and a pretty solid, front-loaded draft this year, rather than continue to go for this, make some noise and lose in the play-in. Then you're sitting there with the 11th, 12th pick. But listen, as a franchise, if you have enough to win right now, it's hard to tell your guys we're just going to shut you down when they're healthy. So they're in a real pickle. Yeah.
Pickle indeed.
I respect it. Just obviously, if you're healthy, play. But
they got to see it through, though.
They are stuck.
Yeah, you got to see it through. Up until last night, you saw AD for 3 quarters, right? And you've been going to war with your fan base. Like, you have to give them something to show them that there's light at the end of this tunnel. Like, you got to show face to the point where it's like we feel like we did the right thing. Then you got to put AD back on the floor. Now you're in a lose-lose because if you go in and play the play-in and give yourself a shot at getting in the playoffs and you fall short, you lose your draft pick. But if you also don't get there, you keep your draft pick. So it's a matter of what does the Dallas Mavericks feel.
No, wait, they have the draft pick.
They have it.
Yeah.
No matter what.
I'm saying the more games they win, the worse that pick gets.
Right.
Okay, so they slide.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, you're talking about a team that feels like they're ready to win right now. Like
win what right now?
If the Kyrie Irving injury,
but again, with 10 to 11 games left, and they've only seen him 3 quarters up until this point, and you trade Luka for that, you got to put him back on the floor, and you got to win as much as you can going into the summer, so your fan base know that you're still serious and you're still dedicated to being successful.
If the Kyrie Irving injury never happened, I would say yes, because then this team, all you need is a couple weeks to get the momentum back, to find that rhythm, and then this team is dangerous. Without Kyrie Irving, this team's not a contender. Next year, you bring this entire team back, you bring a top 6 pick if they decide to smoke these last 11 games or whatever it is. Then all of a sudden, it's like Philly. Then we're not looking at like a tank. We're not looking at like an absolute disarray.
From scratch.
We're looking at like a contender going into next season, assuming Kyrie Irving can get back for the beginning of the season. So I understand both ways. If your guy's healthy, if to play, especially with losing Luka, you want to prove right now that, look, this is the guy we got for him. He's our future, Anthony Davis. So that makes sense too, but it's like they waited too long. It's just tough. It's a tough spot.
Well, listen, our job is to project, right? So for us, we're looking in the future. For them, you're in the moment. You're in the now. You know how it is in that practice facility. It's hard to get players to buy into next year. If guys are there and they're healthy and they're in their locker room, they want to compete. They want to go out there and give themselves a chance to win games. And it's hard to tell guys, hey, we're going to pack it in so we can go get this young guy next year when you got seasoned vets in your locker room. You got Klay Thompson in that locker room. You got AD.
And they don't even know if they're going to be there next year.
And they don't even know if they're going to be there. So with that, you got to play the cards that you're dealt at this moment right now. And that's what it looks like Dallas is trying to do.
If you're a fan, though, and you've already went through everything with Luka, wouldn't you rather be like, you know what?
No.
Nico, you already messed up this season. Don't mess up next.
No,
too.
fans aren't GMs. They fans.
Yeah, but that's going to be their opinion. They're thinking, all right.
Why didn't you just put it to a vote to the fans, and that way you just can't cover your butt no matter what?
Fans want to go to playoff games. They want to go to playoff. Yeah, we're saying that because we're in a different seat. But the average guy, he doesn't want to wait 6 months to bring his son to a game.
I'm telling you right now, if the Spurs were in this situation, this exact situation, and it was okay, you could maybe go to a play-in game, or you can get a better draft pick. At this point, with 11 games left, I just want the better.
Can we not forget, like 2 years ago, Mark Cuban got fined $1 million for doing this exact same thing, and that pick turned into Derek Lively, so it actually worked out.
Right.
So you mean
totally worth it.
So when you look through that,
we're in a completely different scenario now. Can we agree on that?
We are. No, we're all for sure. I'm just saying, like, the fan base. You already lost the fan base.
That's what I'm saying.
They already think
Take
Nico is the GM of the team is already public enemy number one. You already smoked this season. Their opinion. Don't now smoke next season by losing this pick.
Here's the reality. You've already smoked the season, right? But do you not save face if you're the front office? If you can work your way into the playoffs still this year, with everything that's happened, all the injuries that you've happened, trading Luka away, AD being on the fringe of playing, not playing, if you can still sneak this team into the playoffs, that helps you. That saves face of your Nico.
So you think it's a success if they go and they beat the Kings in the first play-in, and then they beat the winner of the Timberwolves Clippers and then get swept by the Thunder? You think the fan base is hyped? I think,
yes, with everything that happened, them still making the playoffs, I think that's still a win for them.
You think there's a chance in hell that scenario could actually work out?
Whether it happens or not, I'm just telling you, if you put yourself in that scenario, you're saving face.
Do you think you could even shut AD down at this point? Because I can't imagine going to him and being like, "You're going to need you to sit."
He's got the most to prove. We talked about it. Like, this dude wants to show the fan base that, look, I am dominant. I am worth the trade. I know everyone's still upset. You lost your baby. He wants to play, and you've heard the reports saying that the Mavs kind of didn't want him to come back. AD's camp wants him to come back. So as a player and a competitor, you have to respect AD wanting to be on the floor. Again, then there's rumors that they're going to trade him. Can they trade him if he's not hurt? So could this be an audition for him to show teams this summer that, look, he is healthy going? So
does he have to?
Put it like this, Beadle.
I don't think so.
Take the trade away. Take the Luka trade away, right?
Yep.
And you take any team that's dealt with the injuries that Dallas has had, right, this year, and then the star player comes back and you still make the playoffs. For any team, that's going to be a success story. If you take the trade part away.
But you can't take
You can't take it away. That's the elephant in the room. You can't take it away.
That was the star player.
But that's my whole thing. Now that how this team is built and everything that's happened since that trade, if you can still manage to get into play, win 2 games to work yourself into a playoff, whether you get swept or not, I still think there's light at the end of the tunnel where you can show we still have a group here that is capable of winning basketball games. And that's us showing you that with these injuries, with Kyrie still being out, with AD going through what he's going through, we still worked our way into the playoffs. So I'm agreeing with you guys, but the yin to the yang to that is if you can still put yourself in that position, I think that saves face.
And you know what? As think about the only other team that's kind of had this kind of a nightmare season is Philly.
Sure.
And ever since they officially shut down.
Imagine Philly still being in a spot to get in the playoffs, and they get to the playoffs.
But have you heard a peep about Philly since they shut down Joel Embiid? No, because they're looking forward to next year, and they're salvaging next year by throwing in this season. And they are bettering their pick every game that they don't play those guys. So I feel like Dallas could technically do the
different
same
scenarios.
thing.
Different scenarios.
All I'm saying is
they traded 4 guys. This team traded the guy away. That's a completely different scenario. And again, if Joel Embiid had only played 3 quarters, Joel would be on the floor right now. Completely different,
Just ask the fans. That way you cover your
You won't even take a poll.
Take a poll, and then that way when it happens, you can
$5 million a year as a GM. You think he's taking a poll?
Yes,
no chance.
Yes, I am. We take polls over everything. It's the democratic way. Just do it. That way you cover your butt, Nico. Listen, I'm not kidding. We also had another. Lakers are a bit of a slide at the moment as well in Orlando last night, 118-106. Luka with 32. LeBron was back, 24-6-7. Wagner, 32-5-9, and of course Banchero, 30 points. So they've lost 3 straight, 7 of their last 10. JJ Redick said quite simply, we're going through it a little bit. Lou, is it that simple?
That has to be a message because at the end of the day, you're still in control. You're still in control of your destiny as far as having home court. You know, they have that tie right there, but they're still in 4th, right? And you don't want to panic. At this time of the year, you don't want to panic, especially when you have Luka and you have LeBron James. Like, if your coach goes out there and we're in trouble and this and that, and you're those two guys, you're looking at him sideways. And so you want to still instill some confidence in your group, telling them that everything will be okay. They're sliding a little bit, you know, on the defensive end. They don't have that same look that they had previously before LeBron James got hurt, and so that's something that they've got to figure out. But they still feel like they're one of the teams to beat. They still feel like they have enough talent to get this thing right. My only concern is what their road record has been this year. You know, they're 15 and 18 on the road, next few games on the road, and then you got to go to OKC in a week or so and play another couple of road games. That's going to be where your struggles are. So if I'm this team, I'm having a little sit down right now, have a meeting of the minds. Let's get it right for the rest of this road trip before this slide it goes any further right now.
And facts are facts. That shows you how important them getting home court advantages in the playoff. Absolutely. With how much they struggle on the road. That 4th seed is huge for them. So this is a great time of the year where they can. This is where teams want to peak. And you see across the league, the NBA is so funny, man. We were just talking about the Lakers. Yeah. The best defense, now it's the worst. The Cavs are on this historic pace, then they smoke 4 out of 5 or whatever it is. Like, there hasn't been the most consistent team all year long has been the Thunder, which is crazy because they're the youngest. But the Lakers, JJ Redick, he can't panic now. Listen, he's got a great team. He's got a great situation. The defense was a little lackluster last night again. He hit 50% from the field and 38% from the 3. No matter who you play, it is going to be hard to win games giving up those kind of numbers unless your offense is absolutely elite. You're taking care of the ball. Last night, they just looked a step slow. They turned the ball over. They didn't get back in transition. The Orlando Magic made them look old last night. And
Orlando is a real team.
I mean, that's
they're no pushovers.
No, they also had a little run of bad luck. But see, their timing was their bad luck came earlier in the season. And
this whole thing is timing. Yeah,
it's all timing. I don't get the defense thing, right? So how do you go from being touted as one of the better defenses in the league and like a week later?
Teams adjust.
But that's
teams
a big
adjust
drop.
when you have when you bring in Luka and you have a new identity and you're able to try different things on the defensive end. Teams scout it and they work on it as well, and they find out where your weak spots are. You know, you see it right here. Nobody's picking up anybody in transition. These guys are getting to the rim. You got 3 guys guarding 1 guy. Like, it just look like they're disheveled.
Just lollygagging.
You see what I'm seeing? You know, there's something glaring on the screen there. You seeing what I'm seeing, but you have to cover those holes up. You got to cover up. You got to have spots where guys that aren't going to give you something on the defensive end, they just got to be in the right spots. Got to play team defense, and right now it don't look like that's what they're getting out of it right now.
Yeah, those 3 clips I just saw, there's just no effort. Like, they just weren't playing hard. They weren't talking. They're not getting back in transition defense. And then 2 run to a ball and swing. They're giving up shots. They're doing a great job switching a lot of actions, but then like last night, they had no answers for Franz Wagner. They had no answers for Paolo. And the ISO, they would pick up their matchups. They'd want to go at Luka. Then they'd want to go at Gabe Vincent. They would try and get their matchup, and they would just attack downhill, put the Lakers in scramble situation, and they made shots. So, again, they have great lineups. They have pieces like Vanderbilt, Dorian Finney-Smith, Rui. They have capable defenders, which I think they got to figure out the rotations on having the right guys in the right spot. But yeah, I think teams just kind of scout differently. They run different sets against them, and like everybody, they're going to make the best players work. They're going to go at LeBron. They're going to go at Luka, just like teams go at Jokic when they play the Nuggets. Like, they're going to have to make the best players work on both sides of the ball, and that's what they're doing.
Another game last night. The Suns. This is just the show of teams that make no sense to us.
They're not dead, Lou.
They're not dead. The Bucks in Phoenix. No game.
Hey.
Okay, there we go.
And one.
Yeah, Phoenix wins again. 4-game winning streak. Devin Booker wins this one with a little mid-range. I don't know if you guys would have guarded this differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, go on, Lou.
It looked like a blown coverage to me. Looking at that play, running it back, it looks like they were supposed to switch everything, but usually when you switch everything, it's after the ball gets inbounded. I think they switched too early. That put Brook Lopez on a Devin Booker for a game winner. That's not a position that he's supposed to be in, and Gary Trent was supposed to be, Gary Trent Jr. was supposed to be into his body. He wasn't supposed to leave his body. It looks like he was supposed to switch right there or something of that nature, but blown coverage to me. It's no way that you allow Devin Booker to be in the ISO with Brook Lopez going downhill for the game.
Yeah, damn sure not that open either. And this is crazy. And I think everything changed for the Phoenix Suns when they put Ryan Dunn, the rookie, back in the starting lineup. Now they have that defensive mentality. They have the guy who can switch 1 through 5. They're playing the other rookie, Oso, who's been great for them. They've kind of limited Martin and Royce O'Neal's minutes. Now they're not playing at 30, 35 minutes a game. So I think this team struggled. So we saw them in Austin. Their defense was horrible. Ever since then, they've made great adjustments, which you got to give Bud credit for. And offense is never going to be the question. When you have Kevin Durant, when you have Devin Booker, they're always going to be able to put points on the board, and that's why they make this team dangerous, right? You had to talk about Brad Beal. He was out last night, but guarding that last play, I agree with Lou. I think that's just a blown coverage. I don't know if they were switching everything before the ball was inbounded or afterwards, but you can't allow Devin Booker to get that kind of look for the game.
Just felt very, very weird and not done right. Lou, I'm not even going to ask you because I know you're done. You were done with the Suns. We've written them off.
Thank you.
Yep, I'm going to just only go to Chandler on this one. However,
appreciate it.
They're a half game behind the Kings for the 9th seed. I don't want to do Charlie Brown here, but is there a world?
Their schedule is brutal, I'll tell you. So if they can win 60, 70% of these games, and I think that it's possible that they get the 9th seed. This team, again, we see other teams going this way. We see teams going this way. The Phoenix Suns right now are playing really well. The Indiana Pacers are playing right now. You want to be peaking at this moment of this season. Again, are they a good team all of a sudden? No. Are they a dangerous team come a play-in tournament where they have guys like Devin Booker and Kevin Durant? Yeah, for sure. It's just when you look at their schedule and you look at the Mavs schedule is way more favorable. But I think right now with who's playing, I think the Suns are a better team than the Mavs.
Maybe every time Lou says I'm out, don't ask, is just another little bit
They might
of power
hawk down. They're going to get the 9th seed.
They're going to do something stupid here, and it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I like this team, and I want to get off this roller coaster because for 2 years, 2 seasons, Chandler and I have been high on the Phoenix Suns. We hadn't got our money worth, so now that they won 4 in a row, I don't want to switch, and then I'm going up on this roller coaster, then I'm going down, I'm going back up.
It is a roller coaster.
I'm just going to stay grounded. I'm off the roller coaster.
All right, we're not asking Lou anymore until the end of the season when they somehow.
I'll tell you, they're not catching the Clippers. So the 9th seed is the highest they can get.
Okay, but that's all they need.
Home court for the first play.
Just need a chance. We're gonna take a quick break. On the other side, Corey Brewer's
here.
It's like Chandler Day every day here.
Come on, see, bro.
We'll be right back. Oh, I like that.
Run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back.
Champ already.
Corey Brewer, have a night.
101 authentic.
13 clears the tunnel.
Call on them, baby.
Whee! That was fun. All right, we got the highlight video. What's up, Corey? Good day to you. How are you?
How people forget how much bounce my boy had.
Well, he was just telling was it 51?
Yeah, he gave me buckets.
That's the first thing he thought
Cherry
of, by the
picking
way.
ass.
So you have that on for the
Come
rest
on,
man. It's not even part of the interview. But I do want to ask you about Florida. We're obviously in the middle of the tournament. High hopes for Florida. Chandler was a young pup coming through on his recruiting visit and then never went anywhere after that. Something happened there in Florida, Corey. What happened on this recruiting trip that got him to stay?
No need to go anywhere. Once you come on Florida's campus, we got you.
Listen, they were winning back-to-back champion. What was the place, Seabrew, where there was like 3 bars in one? It was downtown. You walked into one. You go through one door. It's like rap music. You go through one. They were all 3. And I just remember going to this place and I was like, what in the world is this? Signed on Sunday, canceled every visit I had after that. Mostly because Corey Brewer and Joakim Noah. My 2 guys.
That's all it takes? Just a nice bar?
Just a bar?
A couple other things transpired throughout the weekend.
We had a great time.
We'll leave it at that.
Let me ask you about that 07 team because I truly think it's the greatest college basketball team of all time. Do you think it's obviously the best Florida team and one of the best college basketball teams ever, Corey?
Oh, for sure. Just because, one, we were a team. You know, a lot of teams had great players. We had a whole team that was just together. We did everything together on and off the court, and we played the right way.
And I know the NIL now is such a big deal, and it's crazy seeing the amount of money these dudes are making. How much would you and like Horford and Joakim, Tebow, those guys in Florida during that time would have made in the NIL? Because it's bananas.
We broke the bank. Come on, we went back to school. We went back to school for free. So think about these kids are transferring different schools for money. We went back to school for free. So.
Joakim just said something. He said we paid to go back because we were paying the insurance.
Oh yeah, they all would have been top 10 picks, and they still went back.
Oh yeah.
Year.
Yeah,
God,
we
what
had to
would-
pay our Lords of London insurance. Like, me, Joe, and Al, we're paying insurance to go back to school to go to school. I'm like, come on, man. And now they can take online classes, too? Oh, I've been in heaven.
God, you would have
I
to
had to get up and go to class.
I didn't even think about that.
I didn't think about that either. That's the big one. I don't want to go to class either, and I didn't do anything.
People go to class?
I stopped. That's all I know. I'm always curious about this, Corey, because you and Lou have a weird connection, and I think Lou was not aware of this yesterday.
I was not.
You guys at one point were actually traded for each other, which I always wonder about when a trade goes down. Do you care what the other side got or how it went down? But the Rockets traded you and a first-round pick to the Lakers for Lou. So did you even know that?
Oh, I know for sure. 'Cause I went, the state tax is a little different in LA than Houston.
Great point. Oh yeah, you got the bad news. You
Yeah,
got
see,
the good
he
news.
knew for a different reason than I do. I was blind to it. Corey, I wanna speak to currently your assistant coach with the Pelicans, and I'm sure you've been a part of it. You've heard the narratives about Zion. You know, he can't stay healthy, he can't stay in shape, he has a poor diet. I want to speak to the work that he's put in. Is that frustrating to you as a coach, somebody that works with him, hearing the things about him?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But it comes with the territory. You know, he's a superstar. You know, when you're a superstar, you're going to get criticism. But I think he's okay with it, and I think he's getting his body where it needs to be. He's working his butt off, and people are going to see, you know, he's the real deal.
Could you tell us one surprising thing that the public wouldn't know about Zion that you see behind closed doors every day that people would be surprised about?
The dude, he's a funny dude, man. His personality. People, you know, he's not that serious. He's a big, funny, goofy dude, and he has a good time. He loves basketball, so I think that's gonna be the biggest thing. I think, you know, being hurt all these years and now finally being a little healthy and showing what he can do on the court is gonna make him even hungrier.
I'm going to leave the belly button tattoo alone for now, but I need after the show, I need details of why.
Why would you need details?
Why? Because you get a belly button
He
tattoo.
just wants a why.
I just need answers. That's all, Corey.
One answer.
2007 draft, Corey. You get drafted to the Timberwolves. Kevin Garnett's on the team. A month later, he gets traded. Like, what was that like? Just was that a roller coaster looking to play with a guy like him to then, damn, he's traded a month later?
They probably couldn't use any of my draft interviews because the only thing I said was, I can't wait to get to play with KG. Man, it's gonna be, you know, I grew up watching KG, can't wait. Man, 2 weeks later, I get to Minnesota, they trade KG, and I'm like, oh, okay. So they're like, we're rebuilding. I said, rebuilding? I didn't even know what a rebuild was. I just won 2 national championships. And, well, I found out early in my career what rebuilding was.
So Kevin Garnett's out, but Antoine Walker was there. We've had him on the show. He's told us some great stories. What was it like playing with him, you know, that year?
Twan was having a good time. He wasn't playing too much at this time, but he was having a good time. And for me, I learned a lot of things my rookie year, what to do and what not to do.
There you go.
It's good to do it early.
I think that happens when you have legacy vets. Like I had AI Bruce, so I know exactly what you mean. What to do, what not to do, because they have a different set of rules.
That's interesting. I never thought about the different set of rules that were going on there. So Minnesota to Dallas, you get to win a championship there, which is the best. And you get to play with Dirk. And I'm always curious about Dirk's stories. You know, what's he like? You guys faced a gauntlet of teams and superstars to get to that championship. Any Dirk stories you want to share?
I think the best one is when I felt like the Miami Heat guys were making fun of him that he was faking that he was sick on the podium. Yeah. And he was just in the locker room. He was like, I got some for those burgers. And he came out and went for like 40. So Dirk's the best, man.
I love that bothered him. Bothered everyone. It was so gross.
But bro, then you went on to play with James Harden and Dwight Howard after that. Like you've played with some real icons in the game. What the experience was like at that point in their careers playing with those two guys?
That was fun, man. Especially that was James when James was cooking. Like he was doing everything. It was nice. You come in, he has 45, 15, and 12 like on a daily basis. It was unreal. And so Dwight was still Dwight. He was 20 and 20. It was fun playing with those guys. We went to the Western Conference Finals. You know, we got beat by the Warriors, but hey, we were a good team.
Corey, looks like the question was on here. I didn't scroll down far enough, but when I put on the Rockets,
we get details now.
You were on the Timberwolves, and you dropped 51 points on us.
How many of those were yours?
Probably 49 of them. I just remember we would take a three and Corey was dunking on the other end every single time in transition. We just weren't getting back. What do you remember most about that game? Because that's a nuts game.
I remember when I went in the locker room before the game, Kevin Martin was like, he's like, I'm not playing. And Kevin Love was like, I'm out too. And I said, I'm about to go get 40 on these dudes. At that time, I had like 30. I was like, I might get 40. And then after that, I seen you were guarding me and James was guarding me. I said, I can get 50.
That's how you feel?
Did you say, like, do you talk during that game? Do you talk?
No, I just remember JB Bickerstaff, Mikhail were just roasting us, just get back. But he was making threes. He was getting the free throw line. He was doing everything.
You had 27 points, buddy.
Hey, look at me. I had half of what Corey had.
Not a total loser.
There we go.
You did your best.
Not
That's
bad
all you
at all.
could do. I'm always curious, too, because he just mentioned all the stars that you've played with. Both guys did. And then you also had a brief time in OKC, and that was the was it Russ? Carmelo Anthony? Yeah. Yep. That was a big moment, too. So 18 games there. Is that enough time to sort of get stories, to bond? Like, what's that kind of an experience like to play with, like, a Carmelo Anthony for, a handful of games?
It was a great experience for me, just because I went from LA to getting to play in the playoffs with those guys. Melo was great, man. Melo was Melo. Like, you know him, he's a great guy, and he was a good teammate. Loved playing with Russ. Got a lot of easy layups playing with Russ, and PG, a lot of step backs I seen.
Brew, we talking about your 50-point game, but you had a mean presence on the defensive end. If you guarded some of the greatest in the game, from the T-Macs to the Kobe's to the D-Wades, what was one of your favorable matchups of toughest guys to guard in the league?
My favorable matchups?
Well, that you liked, whether it went your way or not.
I was like, ooh, it was my way.
None of those guys.
None of the ones you said.
You mentioning guys like that was easy. They were taking a lot of shots now. You can only guard so much. I always tell people, when you're a defender, a dude might have 25, 30, and you did your job because they're going to take 30 shots. It's a rough life when you're a defender.
That's a fact. You remember your first time guarding Kobe?
Oh, for sure. Man, I was down there, and he was talking to me. He was like, I'm about to go left fade, young fella. Left fade? What are you talking about? Yeah, he went left fade.
Oh, so, he was telling you what he was going to do before?
That's cool.
Cold. Talking to you. He talked to you through the moves. He said, watch out for the pump fake. He hit you with a pump fake.
Cold-blooded.
Cold wasn't no joke.
God, that is awesome to be able to do that and then do it for real. Corey, go ahead.
Corey, we got the Gator game Thursday night. Florida, Maryland, you've been following. You think we got enough to win it all this year or what?
Come on, man. We got enough to win for sure. I can't go, but we definitely got enough to win. I like our squad this year.
You can't go, duh. Chandler's going to go now, but I'm a little worried he's jinxing it because he's a little too confident.
We got a squad, Corey. We're winning it all, baby.
He's been saying that this whole time.
Appreciate it.
Corey, we appreciate the time, man. Pelicans. Good luck the rest of the way. I'm not sure how to address that. Can I say good luck the rest of the way? Yes, I can. We'll be right back.
Later, see you, bro.
All right, see you, fellas.
Run it up, run it back.
Get into some other games last night. Celtics out in Sacramento.
Oh, no, he didn't.
Good win for Boston.
Did you see this shot?
This is you. Okay,
What,
the only thing.
Layup, I just looked up.
The layup is what?
No,
there you go.
8 seconds on the shot clock. He had a one-legged three-pointer.
Do you want to talk about the Tatum injury?
Sure.
Because he did have an injury.
That was crazy.
It was an ankle injury in the third. It was one of those moments where I am very familiar with because it looks very, very dangerous, Sabonis. But they seem to think he's going to be okay. If you're Boston, however, you only have so many games left, Lou. You just let him chill. You're going to be fine.
Yeah, depending on the severity of it, you're not going to move in the standings. You're pretty much locked into that second place spot. You already know what you're getting yourself into when it comes to the postseason. You don't want to risk something like this. You also want guys to stay kind of in a rhythm going into the postseason. You don't want guys taking too much time off. So it's a tricky situation. You want guys to go in and be healthy, but on the basketball side of it, you want some reps. You want to make sure you're going into it in a great rhythm and a great flow. But these guys are seasoned vets at this point. They know what it takes to win championships, know what it takes to get through a playoff series. So if I'm Boston right now, I'm resting them until it's time to go back and go mode.
It's hard to see that reaction and then be like, but he's okay.
The reaction was bad, right?
It's bad.
At the end of the day, it's a sprained ankle. We don't know what grade it is, how long he's going to be out. But again, this is something you're not going to rush. This is something that you're looking now ahead to the postseason. And just an unfortunate break, unfortunate time. It's not a dirty play. We've seen this before where,
I know.
It's an accident.
Name him.
Who's this, Pachulia?
It's called the Zaza.
Yeah, like
and it's attempted murder.
Again, when you even watch
Lou,
watch this play, there's no way he
Zaza.
intentionally did this. So the
No,
whole,
it
like, you know
didn't.
what I mean? Like, it's a freak accident play trying to contest, but he's probably going to be out sometime. You look at the rest of this road trip, they're at Suns, at Spurs, at Grizzlies, and they get to be home for a three-game home stretch. So I think he'll probably miss 5 to 7 games with this, would be my guess. But this is not something you're going to dilly-dally with. This is something that you just have to get him 100% going into the playoffs. Just bad timing.
that's why taking care of business all season long affords you this moment.
They can afford
just
to
in
do this.
case.
They're 5.5 up on the Knicks. They're not catching the Cavs, like Lou said. So, like, they're in a great spot.
And you got KRISTAPS back for a while now, and he's doing great.
has
And
been
you know what?
balling.
It's almost like we planned it. Because joining us now from The Athletic, he covers the Boston Celtics. Yeah, Jay King is here. We didn't plan it this way. The timing just worked out perfectly, Jay. I don't know if you want to talk about the Tatum injury really, really quickly since we just addressed it, but anybody need to be too overly concerned or just take some time here?
I don't think so. Probably a great sign that he was able to take the free throws, that he was walking around under his own power, that he didn't need crutches or anything like that walking out of the gym. So I don't think it's too concerning. He also has had a history of durability. He's kind of like, I don't want to compare anyone to LeBron James in any way, but LeBron can just like shrug off injuries that impact a lot of people. And Tatum, a lot of the time he rolls an ankle, you think he might be out for weeks, and then he kind of comes back quickly. So we'll see what happens here, but I don't think it's too concerning.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. We've got to talk about the Celtics sale, $6 billion. That's just a crazy number. And I don't know, how Celtics fans or Boston in general is feeling about Bill Chisholm and that group that bought. I know we're living in an era where sometimes a new group comes in and bad changes are made. So any concern for Celtics fans as far as what this new ownership group looks like and what their plans are?
I think they're going to trade Tatum for an older, injury-riddled star pretty soon. No, seriously, I think a lot of people didn't know really a lot about Bill Chisholm. For a guy of his financial status, he's really kept an extremely low profile throughout the years. And so people are just trying to learn a little bit about him, figure out what he's about. He's a huge Celtics fan. He grew up near the Boston area, and he's a diehard Boston sports fan, all the teams, the Patriots, Red Sox, everybody, from what I hear. So I think that's all promising. And he's stepping in at a really tough time, though. Like, this is a really hard time to purchase the Celtics, because this summer you're either going to have to commit to a salary that could be about $500 million, including luxury tax, to keep the team together, including free agents Al Horford and Luke Cornett, or you have to make significant changes and risk alienating the fan base when you just took over. So it's going to be a hard job for him, but I know he's very excited for it, and he's, like I said, a huge Celtics fan, and this is kind of a dream for him.
Man, that's kind of that is weird timing to have to make
Pretty
those
good
calls.
problem to have, though, when you're inheriting and buying the best team, right? Like one of the best.
Well, if
teams.
you're smart about it, as long as he doesn't call the finals the championship, like maybe somebody in Dallas did, people will perhaps buy the credibility. Don't broke. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, 100%. So, Jay, the Celtics right now, they're 4.5 games behind the Cavs for the 1 seed, 10 games left to play. Is there now, especially with Tatum going down, just to cozy up to that 2 spot? They're obviously going to try and win games. They're going to make a run for the 1 spot. They're going to start resting other guys. What's kind of the status on the Celtics the last 10 games?
Yeah, I think it should be all about rest. It should be all about getting players healthy. Jaylen Brown was banged up for a while. He sat a few games recently. Tatum has played a ton of minutes. He's among the league leaders. Obviously, with his ankle injury, you should be as cautious as possible with that. Get your older vets like Drew Holiday, Al Horford some time off their feet, get them ready for the playoffs. I know Cleveland has slipped a little bit lately, but you're not catching Cleveland with this few games left in the regular season. And really, I don't think that should be the aim. The one objective basketball-wise I think they should want to see is getting some more playing time with the starting lineup if they can. The starting lineup has played 320 minutes, I believe it is, this season, and they've actually been outscored by 1.7 points per 100 possessions. And that's so strange when you have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Derek White, KRISTAPS, PORZINGIS. But they just haven't played well as a group this season. And there's a ton of factors for that are all legitimate and probably won't matter in the playoffs. But I think if you can get that group some more reps heading into the playoffs, it would be a big deal.
Now, this team's been the most respected kind of favorites to win it all this whole season long. But internally, is there a potential matchup that they, worry about? They're 1-2 against the Pacers or 1-2 against the Hawks. Any of that matter, or they really don't care?
I wouldn't say that they're worried about any potential first-round matchup at all. I do believe, last year's run to the finals was easy. They were much better than anybody they played. Nobody really tested them. They never trailed in a series. They only lost 3 games the entire playoffs. They just went on a dominant run throughout that playoffs. I don't think it's going to be the same this year. The competition, not the first-round competition, but the competition in general is just so much better. There was no Cleveland last year. There was no OKC last year. These teams that are lining up, and if you look at their statistical profile, really look like all-time teams. And obviously they've got to prove themselves in the playoffs. The Cavs, the Thunder, they haven't done it. They haven't put together those long runs you want to see. But last year the Celtics, they were drastically superior to everybody, and I don't think it's going to be the case this year. They should gear up for a much tougher playoff run.
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk about Jayson Tatum here for a second. All the narratives surrounding him, that he'll never be the face of the league, he's boring, the disrespect he faced, with the Olympic team this summer. As someone that writes for the team, knows him probably, more than the next person, what just is wrong about him? What narrative just infuriates you the most that you've heard?
Nothing infuriates me. I think the thing that gets lost sometimes is how well-rounded he's become as a basketball player. People still think back to his early days when he was trying to get to his midi and shoot contested jump shots and would look off teammates sometimes. He's averaging 7 assists per game just about over his last 20 games. He's become someone who can dissect the defense, who can run point guard on offense, who can guard centers on defense, who can really guard 1 through 5, one of the few guys in the league who can competently do that. And so he's just super complete. And I think that sometimes gets lost just because of who he was earlier in his career. People see him as just a scorer, and he's far more than that. He makes great decisions. Their team throughout the years, basically no matter who's been put around him, what other 4 guys are out there, they play great basketball. And so that would say is sometimes the part that gets missed, but I don't think too much. I mean, he's finished top 6 in MVP voting the last 3 years. I do think he gets a lot of respect for what he does. But yes, some of the talk about him just misses that completeness.
Yeah, 27, 9, and 6 is boring. Sign me up.
I know, boring's such a funny word. Like, it's not like we're dating the guy. I don't understand what the boring even comes in and means. It's very odd to me. Kristaps Porzingis looks like he's back. So I want to kind of get to that illness also. Like, what exactly was it? How bad did it get? I know you wrote about it. So what can you tell us about what he went through?
Mysterious illness?
By the way, Mookie Betts is going through a mysterious illness. It's like this mysterious illness thing. What was up with Kristaps?
Yeah. That was weird. So for a while, they legitimately just didn't know what it was. He said that they're still not really sure what it was. They think it was bronchitis. They feared that it was mononucleosis for a little while, and sounded like he was just in rough shape, where he would try to work out. Then the next day, he'd just be in his bed. He said he couldn't even get up, make himself some coffee. And so it was something that really impacted him for a while. And they took some time trying to figure it out. He was, I guess, lucky it wasn't worse than bronchitis, and that he was only able to come back after, I believe it was an 8-game absence. And good news for the Celtics, he's looked great ever since he came back. So whatever he did while he was out to try to fight through that and stay in good shape it really helped him, because that guy is, maybe it's because of how many injuries he's had in his career, but he has an ability to come back after extended absences and just play great. And we saw that obviously in Game 1 of the finals last year.
By the way, the fact that they have all the best doctors in the world and they don't know, that does not make the normal person like myself feel any better about going to the doctor.
Z-Pack.
Yeah, right?
Z-Pack usually nips it in the butt.
Z-Pack's good for everything.
Jesus Christ. Jay, I want to ask you about Payton Pritchard. Looks like he's going to win his 6th Man of the Year. Is he one of the more valuable pieces to this team? I know we already know about the star power, but you got to have that X factor. Is he that for this team this year?
Yeah, definitely. And I think the thing that separates it beyond the 3-point shooting ability, beyond the scoring that he's developed as a 3-level scorer, it's just he brings it every single night. It doesn't matter if it's the second night of a back-to-back, fourth game in 5 nights, if he's played 40-something minutes the night before. That guy is always going to compete. He's always going to bring an energy. If the starters don't bring it, you know that you can bring Payton Pritchard off the bench and he's going to give you a jolt. And so that to me is probably the most important thing he brings to the Celtics, is just that ruthless competitiveness. He's one of the best competitors, one of the toughest guys, and he never ever misses a night with all that energy. And so he's just been a super consistent force for them, and on top of that, his shooting has just been ridiculous.
He's on a 4-year, $30 million deal.
Yeah.
First of all, is that the biggest bargain in the NBA? And what would he make this free agent? If he was a free agent this summer, what's a guy like that looking at?
That's a good question. It would be well upwards of $30 million. And you got to remember, when he signed that extension, I believe he was coming off a year when he was behind Malcolm Brogdon and Marcus Smart and Derek White and didn't play much at all. And so the Celtics, they really got him at a good time for that extension.
That is awesome.
And yeah, and part of the reason they felt comfortable moving Malcolm Brogdon, moving Marcus Smart, was because they saw more in Payton Pritchard. They knew that he could handle more of a role. And obviously since then, and I mean, the guy requested a trade at one point. so they held strong there, moved some other guys, gave him an opportunity, and he's taking full advantage of it.
It worked out perfectly. Joe Mazzulla has gone through some periods for all of us, because at first we all thought he was a little bit crazy, and I still think he's crazy, but in a better way, because some of these quotes that have come out of him over the course of time, we're all going to be dead soon. Love it so much. Wish we could bring back fighting. We did talk about that one.
None of you are coming to my funeral.
I know, none of you are coming to my funeral. Like, I imagine there's some that we don't even get to hear or have heard. So what's it like covering him?
Like he's in charge of the guest list.
Give us a zinger that you heard that the public doesn't know that he said.
It's totally different, and it's funny because, as a journalist, I went from covering Brad Stevens, who was like the most earnest, like just gonna answer your question normally. Then Ime Udoka came in, and he was just like as blunt and direct as it gets. He called the Celtics soft in the second game he ever coached. It was kind of after Brad especially, just a shock to the system. And now it's Joe, who's like some mix of Bill Belichick and I don't even know who else. And so he's not going to give you much, but he's going to give you those sarcastic one-liners. And yeah, it can be, it's always a ride with Joe. He's like predictably unpredictable. Perfect. Where you know he's going to do something crazy, you just don't really know what it is.
It's fun. I look forward to his quotes now, just because I like to talk about him and think about him. Jay, we appreciate the time. To you, I can definitely say best of luck the rest of the season. That one fits here. Yeah, that one works. Thanks,
I appreciate
Jay.
that. You guys too.
We'll be right back.
Run it back, run it up, run it back.
This bracket season. FanDuel, you make the call. I was trying to make it good. Because right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Bet on everything from team totals to point spreads and even who's cutting down the nets. Tourney action almost every day, and America's #1 sportsbook is the #1 place to bet the tourney. So download the app, get in on the college hoops action all tourney long. Can't wait to do that one day in California, guys. I'd just like to throw that in there every single time. T-Wolves at Pacers. Pacers beat Minnesota. They're staying hot.
So hot right now.
So hot right now. Tyrese with 24. Obi, 20. Ant, 17. Naz Reid with 20. But the Pacers don't look now.
Obi been cooking lately.
I
man.
know.
I give him some credit.
Something's going on in his life. 5-game winning streak for Indiana at this moment. I'm wondering, home court advantage? Are we looking to them to disrupt some things? I had not thought about them, I'll be honest, Chandler, and now all of a sudden you have to.
They're a team that early we had high hopes for. Okay. Everything they gave us last year, the Halliburton kind of coming into the stardom role, and then they kind of struggled early, but now they're kind of turning it on. They're getting production from their bench. Look at last night. Top in 20, Mather in 11, McConnell 10. Remember how good TJ McConnell was last year too, so you know you can trust him, you can rely on him in the playoffs. Siakam's been consistent all year long. Halliburton's had his ups and downs, but he is the focal point. He is the head of the snake on this offense, and we all know how great Carlisle's offenses are. They're going to play fast. They're going to play a lot of pick and roll. They're going to shoot a lot of threes, and right now they are peak. They're one of the teams that are going the right direction rather than the wrong direction. They really are.
Would you take the Bucks over them at this moment in time, guys? Just asking.
No.
Yes, I think it'd go
Yes
7.
and no.
I think it would go 7.
Okay, and then we got it yes. But also maybe
I'm
7?
going with star power. I'm going with the guys that's proven. Giannis already got hardware. He's gonna switch over to, you know, the MVP that we're used to.
So you would take the Bucks?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, I probably would too. Honestly.
Wow, thanks for
that was quick.
Really starting business on that one.
But the Pacers are rolling.
There are teams moving in the right direction, also teams moving in the wrong direction. Wolves have lost 3 of their last 4. Just because we talk so positively about them, now this is happening. 3 losses. Anthony Edwards has taken 10 or more threes, Lou. Do we like this at all?
Don't love it. I don't love it. You know, you're bailing teams out, especially when you're 1 for 11 in that game. You know, sometimes being a young guy, you can kind of get caught up in, I got to make the next one, and before you know it, you're 1 for 11 from the field, from the three-point line. But if you're Anthony Edwards, this is a bailout for other teams. You're making their job easy. Like, you're not using your sharpest weapon. Your sharpest weapon in your arsenal is your ability to get to the rim. Even play with your back to the basket. He don't play with his back to the basket as much as some bigger guards would, but I think that will come in time. But the moment that he gets back to using his size, he's going to put pressure on every defense that they run into for the rest of his career if he makes a conscious effort in that. So I don't love the fact that he shot, you know, 30-plus threes in 3 games, especially losses. That's telling you that this is a recipe that isn't working, especially when you're 1 for 11. It's not like he's 5 for 11, 6 for 11.
No, 1.
This last game, 1 for 11. You got to put more pressure on the rim, especially if you're Ant Edwards. Nobody can stop you there.
We got the TNT game tonight. It's a big one. It's the Warriors in Miami. Everybody's going to be watching because, it's the return of Jimmy Butler. There will be a video. That is confirmed. Now, what this video looks like and how it will be received, we don't know yet. So what kind of reaction? By the way, no one will be in their seats. But, Lou, what kind of reaction do you expect?
I think there will be mixed reviews. I think you'll get some cheers and some jeers as well. But the video is definitely earned if you're Jimmy Butler. And sometimes when you have a beef with the front office, that's your beef with the front office. Like, we don't know what his impact was in the city of Miami, to the fan base, to the people that supported him. This was an ugly breakup, but they did have some great moments. We're not going to pretend like that didn't happen. And so the video is warranted, but, you know, naturally with fans, some are going to cheer and some are going to boo. It is what it is.
Yeah, his production is undeniable with how good he was for the Heat, the whole Heat culture, how good they were in those playoffs. Did they win a championship, the ultimate goal? No, but he was kind of the heart and soul of this team for his entire time there. So I think fans will appreciate that, will respect that, but 1,000% there will be boos, just the way it ended. It's a bad breakup. It's a bad breakup, and Pat Riley, who knows if he's going to be there or not. It's kind of like the Luka thing, Luka and Nico. Are Pat Riley and Jimmy going to talk? Are they going to speak? Are they going to? I don't know.
We hadn't seen Pat Riley down on the court in years.
Also, they're pretty bad.
Only Pat Riley on the court is his name.
Yeah.
Other than that, he's in the crowd.
That was your team?
I was going to say, they're not really killing it.
You got to see it through.
1-9.
This is the group that you wanted. You got to see it through.
And also, I feel like this is somewhat like closure for this whole situation. Like, get this over with. This is they had to make the move. Like, this needs to happen.
It did have to make it.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is closure. And again, there was just an ugly breakup that I think is probably going to be loud. But during the video, there'll be respect. But every time he touches the ball, I bet you.
And one thing we guarantee, we will see a motivated Jimmy Butler.
Oh,
we know
sure.
his.
Well, he said it's just another game, Lou.
Yeah, his petty meter is ringing off the hook. I guarantee you he's going to give us so many moments. I actually want to see Jimmy Butler to see if he changed his hair color, Miami style or something of that nature. That's something to look out for, too.
Yeah, this is one of those ones where TNT
a lot of prop bets on what's going to happen.
Yeah,
tonight.
the lower bowl won't be full yet, but we'll hear some.
Yeah, they should do the video in the first quarter, knowing that no one's going to be there yet.
That's actually a good idea.
That would be the ultimate.
Well, no, because the Heat probably don't want
That's going to be natural. I've played in playoff games, and they haven't been there the first quarter.
Yeah. Really do take them.
They want to be petty, put the video early.
That's going to do it for us today. Chelsea Gray on the show tomorrow.
Yay.
Enjoy your Tuesday. Have fun tonight.
Run it back, run it up, then run it back, yeah.